Welcome to the steps for a successful sales presentation. When we talk about the steps of the sales presentation, we make sure that we don't confuse the steps of the sales presentation with the steps of the sales process. We want to remember that the sales presentation is only one step of the actual sales process. Now, every sales presentation is going to be a little bit different, and there's certain items that are going to affect the depth and width that we spend in each one of these steps. Some of these items that we're going to identify that would change that could be new customer versus returning customers, the needs of the customer. We're going to have some customers that their needs. Sales presentation, where if you've got someone who's got more product knowledge, you may not have to go through the same amount of information to that customer. The needs of the product. Different products will mean different sales process. Just like when we're at the grocery store and we're going to pick up some milk, we don't necessarily need a salesperson to talk to us about the features and benefits of the $4 a gallon milk. Where if we're spending $40,000 for a vehicle, well, we're probably going to do a little bit more investigation, and it's going to take us a little bit longer to make that final decision for that product. And finally, it could be some time restraints for the presentation, which could be because of the customer, could be for the specific situation, or it could be from you as a salesperson. Hey, I've got 10 minutes to finish this presentation, and so you want to make sure that if you only have 10 minutes, that you use that 10 minutes to the best of your advantage. Just like you take this class online, there's more and more opportunity for us to communicate online. So our face-to-face time is really become limited with the customer. And so because that face-to-face time has been reduced, anytime we do get it, we want to make sure that we are spending that time as effectively as we possibly can. Now, there's 7 different steps to the sales process. What we'll do here is we'll list them, and then I will go into each step in greater detail. The first step is to prepare for the presentation. The second step is approaching the customer. Next is questioning and listening to the customer. Configure the product and service solution. Next step is ask for the sale. The 6th step is to complete the sale. And the 7th and final step is to service the sale. When we talk about the first step, we talk about preparing for the presentation. This is a mistake a lot of people make as salespeople, is they don't prepare for the presentation. A lot of times I'm given the question, are salespeople born or are they made? A lot of people have talents that they've been born with in regards to being able to talk or communicate and being good communicators. Just because you're good or comfortable at talking to people or groups and you're not a shy person does not necessarily mean you're going to be a good salesperson. I have found that people that start off with not great presentation skills have a tendency to be better salespeople because they know they need to put the time and effort into preparing for that presentation. And so we talk about the 4 P's. It's preparation, 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 and preparation. How do we prepare for that customer? As I said before, our face-to-face time has been greatly reduced. So when we do have it, we want to make sure we're using it as effectively as possible. There's certain areas that we're going to need to research to help us prepare for this presentation. First is to know the client. How much do we know about the client and their specific needs before we walk in the door? One that hopefully seems pretty normal for us to be on top of is knowing our product. But knowing the product breaks then into a couple different categories. It's not just knowing the nuts and bolts and the features and benefits of our product. Identifying how and why people are going to be using it. Tying in how and why people use this product to the needs of your client. What's the competition out there? What information is the customer getting about this product or this industry before they come talk to you? Before, the salesperson was pretty much the first place people went to for information. But now we all know that that's not the case. How many times do we look online before we go to a store to find information on something? And so what the salesperson really needs to understand is what information's out there, where would they get it from, and which is factual and which is not. Which is beneficial to their product and which may be not beneficial to their product. Next, we're talking about the actual presentation. How do we approach the customer? How do you start your presentation? A big mistake a lot of people make is they just jump into sales right away, where they're getting to business without building that rapport with that customer. The amount of time and the way we do this is going to be a little bit different. This is one we're going to look at. Is it a new customer, more experienced customer? If it's a customer we have met with before and we have rapport with them, it's much easier to get this conversation going versus a new customer. Then we have to look at how quickly do we get the business. Sometimes people start that too soon, but you can also spend too much time in that rapport building and not get to business soon enough. And sometimes you can delay that out so far, it becomes hard for you to get into that talking business mode. We talk about approaching and listening to the customer. Key part of the approach of the customer is the idea to really listen to the customer. And we talk about in the approach piece, this is where we really start questioning and listening to this customer. We talk about what are the right questions for me to ask. The ideal situation is for us to let the customer tell us what product they want or what product they're going to need. And a lot of times salespeople say, oh, let me tell you what's on sale today. We've got this great product. We want to start off with, why are they here? What are you looking for? What do you need as a customer? Let them identify those key points of what's important to them out of this product or service. Then once you identify those key points, now we can pull those key points into our product configuration. And so when we're looking at configuring our product, we should base it off the customer needs. And it's really important for us. I cannot stress the important part of the number one thing I can do as a salesperson is to not say anything. And it's very difficult because we think we get paid to talk. But the reality is I need to sit back and listen to the customer. The features and benefits of my product that I had you do should be tied into the needs that the customer is going to give you. Every product has thousands of features and benefits. You know, I look at televisions, and there's 30, 40, 50 features listed on these product sheets. You're not going to go through every single feature to every single customer. What you're going to do is identify which things are important to that customer, tie that into the features and benefits that's going to be important to the customer. And so we're going to take, hey, what are you looking for? Asking them the right questions and leads us to say, well, you were looking for a computer that is 27 inches, has a 27-inch monitor. Well, let me show you XYZ model. This model comes with a 27-inch monitor. You said that that is the size you're looking for. Is that correct? And the first thing you get them to say, yes. And so that's when we talk about each customer need should be confirmed. And so once we identify a features and benefit, it's almost like we do a trial close on each single one, where we say, you said you were looking for a 27-inch monitor or larger. This model has a 27-inch monitor. Does that meet your needs? We want them to get used to saying yes. It's a fun word. Yes. Yes, it does. It meets my need. Then you move. Okay, the second thing you said that was important to you was that it came with a DVD writer. This model here, it's got a 27-inch monitor, comes with a CD, DVD player, which also you can write to. Do you feel this meets your needs? Bam, we get them to another yes. Once we identify those 4 or 5 items that was important to them, and we get them to continually say yes, 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 now when we ask for the sale, as we get them to say yes, yes, yes this entire time, when I say, is this the product you are looking for? Well, first you identified what product they were looking for by what they needed it to do. You then said, here's what this one does. And after each single time, you said, will this meet your needs? Yes. So once you get to that last stage, if you say, does this meet your needs? And they say no to you, they're really saying no to the specifications they gave you at the beginning of this process. Now, we talk in the slides titled Ask for the Sale. Pretty much every single textbook you see is going to be called the closing. The reason why I titled it Ask for the Sale is it's a step that many students miss anytime they do a sales process or a sales presentation in my class. They don't ask for the sale. You will never be able to close a sale if you don't ask for it. Because those people right away will be, well, I got to talk to somebody, or there's someone else who's in charge of making that decision. You want to start off with, hey, would you like to purchase this? Sometimes closing a sale can be as easy as that. It's easier for me to close the sale if I get each need, as I described earlier, identified and confirmed. This is how we can ask for the sale without worrying about the customer saying no. Now, the one thing, another technique we can do is we get them to say yes to 3 or 4 or 5 of these individual things they're looking for. And maybe, like when I sold computers, what I would do is I would give them 3 options. Option A was just kind of like, this is the, based on your needs, this is your basic. And then option B is a little bit higher, kind of like the medium option. And then option C was top of the line. I always kind of looked at the good, better, best philosophy. And the reason why I give them 3 options is if I only present you one product, then it's easy to say, no, I don't want that. If I present you with 3 specific different options to meet your needs, now I can say, here's the 3 that I've identified that will meet all the things you're looking for. Which one do you want? So now when I say, which one do you want, I'm not saying, do you want product A? I'm saying, of these 3, which one are you going to go with? And so I'm not asking you a yes-no question at that point in time. Another mistake people make is they don't complete the sale properly. Once you get a, yes, I would like product B. Okay? What you want to do then is you want to take product B, wrap it up, whatever you do, and say, okay, here's the price for it, here's the final, boom, 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 complete that sale. Well, a lot of times people do is they start upselling. Well, do you need a printer? Do you need this? Well, also when you start adding printers and paper and software, using computer as an example, or service agreements on a vehicle, or add-ons to any product or service that you potentially sell, now you might get out of your budget. And now they might say, oh, let me think about it. I'm going to have to get more money. And then they may walk out on you without ever making the purchase. And so once you get them to agree on the base product, take that up to the counter, wrap it up, get payment for it, and close that sale, and then work on, okay, you said you're looking for a printer. Let's work on that printer as a separate item. Because you don't want the printer, you don't want a $200 printer to cost you a $3,000 computer sale. Or you don't want the price of a sales agreement to keep you from selling a $40,000 vehicle. So those are the things that you're going to have to look at. And so this is when you identify payment delivery options. You want to make sure that, okay, once they say yes, you are ready to complete that sale. We talk about servicing the sale. What's the follow-up with the customer? If you say you're going to call them in a week, the day that you transact the sale, you better call them in a week. You better have some type of database or something, whichever you need, to make sure you remember that you call them. A lot of mistakes salespeople make is say, oh yeah, I'll call you next week to find out how you're doing. And they never call. All right? That is hurting the rapport you develop with that customer. If there has been issues with the product or service, are you able to answer those questions? Can you handle the complaints? If no, you need to know immediate who would be the person to handle them. Because if you call up with a follow-up with a customer, I've gotten this too. People called up, hi, how you doing? I'm just checking how your product is working for you. Don't ask a question unless you are prepared to deal with the answer to that question. A lot of times people will respond, well, you know, I've got this XYZ going. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. You need to call our service department. Well, if you're going to ask the question, hopefully you are able to do some troubleshooting there, or at least know what information, who can handle that call. See, the problem salespeople run into is that they pay the price for ineffectiveness at different levels of the organization. And so there's many times where I've switched the company I shop with or that I deal with because I've had a customer service issue. Now, I really had a good rapport with my salesperson, but if the other parts of the company don't work properly, they may lose me as a customer. And so I need to be in constant contact with my customer to make sure everything is going well. So in case I do have a bad response, I can say, well, yeah, I talked to your customer service department the other day, and they did me no good. Well, now the salesperson has the opportunity to save that situation because they're your customer, right? Generally, people in the customer service department, they're getting paid hourly. You're getting paid based on sales. And so you want to make sure that if you're dealing in that situation, that you are able to keep these customers because it's much, 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 much easier to sell a current customer than it is to sell a new customer.